Seconds just in case. Hey everybody, and welcome to Robin's house. Today I'm working on my June cards with Robin, and one of them is using this Sweet Old Friends. I'm using the stamp, well, I didn't use the stamp set, but I used the dies that go with the stamp set because the paper pack that is called Silly Old Bear uses the die cuts from the stamp set of Sweet Old Friends to cut out the images. So all of the images on this card are actually cut out on the die cut machine using die cuts and the DSP paper. It is amazing. They're all perfect. And so that was a lot of fun. For those of you that don't love coloring or all that, and then there's also a different stamp set that has the messages, but I also used Friendly Seagulls and One More Year for a couple of the other messages. The point of this is, you kind of saw, this is a fun fold card with 2 layers. So I just wanted to quickly show you how to create this fun fold card for your own self. Now I recommend using the 8.5 by 11 cardstock because it's a little thicker, and since this has so much going on, that little extra thickness will really help with the 3D effects of it. So you start with your so you'll want to cut this down to 5.5 because that is the tallness of a card base, and then you're going to tuck away your blade and you're going to cut, you're going to score. So the two things on here are 1 3/4, and I think it's 1 3/4 again. And then we're going to go to 3.5. 1 3/4. So we go to 1 3/4. We use our thing. We're going to bring our thing to 1 3/4 again, which is a little tricky, but it's okay. 1 3/4. And then we're going to move to 3.5. Go to 1 3/4 again. And then we're going to cut it at 1 3/4. So there are 2 ways you can do this. And I've got another many videos this month about fun fold cards. So you can see another way to do this. So we've also got an inch. So we need to cut an inch of the top and an inch out of the bottom. So I'm going to get myself to the inch mark. And then I'm going to, am I in the view? I'll do this one first. So I'm going to go from my first 1 3/4 mark to the second 1 3/4 mark. I'm going to jump over the 3.5, and I'm going to do the same thing to the next 1 3/4 section. Then turn it around and do the exact same thing again. So I'll go from 1 inch up to the 1 3/4, move up to the next panel, 1 3/4. So now I have slits cut here, which would be another fun thing. You could tuck a pen or something fun down there. But what we want to do is we want to cut these off. So from our 1 inch mark down to 4.5 inch mark, then move it over here to this next mark and go from the 1 inches to 4.5 inches. And now when I bring it up here, you might need to use your X-Acto knife or some scissors just to perfect the corners, but most of mine turned out just fine. And then you take it and you fold it in. You take it and you fold it in, and it's ready to go. How fun is that? And then you have a fun fold with a panel on each side. So I hope that helps. Here's the original again, and then I decorated the back with just a piece of one of the other papers and some layers. So you can decorate it any old way you please, but that is how you create it. Thank you so much for watching. Happy crafting.